Hi folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, one of the things that I really wanted to tell you about, because I think it's kind of important, is this time of the year, right now, the one thing that we still have, the one species we can still fish for, is northern pike or walleyes, and of course panfish. So I wanted to list what some of the things that I've spent a lifetime in fishing and learning, and that is about northern pike. Number one, they pretty much, what I've seen, are a school fish. And really, when you think about it, almost every species of fish are school-oriented. That's what they need for survival, the very gross numbers. But I've found that with northern pike, it isn't like you'll have big schools of walleyes or a lot of the other fish, of course, all the panfish. But I've found northerns tend to stay in small groups. The second thing that I've noticed through the years, and I have a story to go with this, is that northerns are very, very critical or selective on color. Now, sometimes I think we overemphasize the point of color, but with northern pikes, especially if you're not using spoons or something, I think color can play a huge role. And I remember back in Reindeer Lake in Manitoba years ago when I was doing a show, and there was our guides were Crees, and they had taken us to a part of Reindeer Lake where there was great big northern pike, and we're back in the bays, and it was a clear sunny day, and you could see these huge fish back right in the corner of the reeds and so forth. And I remember we were using a fly rod with a woolly bugger or a bunny type, made a bunny fur type of fly in different colors. And what we found was, in the beginning, they ignored all the colors except one. And I'll say now, I can't remember the differences in the hours, but for the first hour, it was white. And every time you put a white one on, they'd follow it out, and they maybe would strike it. Then after a couple hours, they wouldn't look at a white one. And then it became yellow. And by the end of the day, there had been 4 or 5 different colors, and it was such a teaching. It was such a school day for me in learning about how those fish reacted to what they saw. So color can play a huge role. The other thing with northerns, unlike other fish, and this is one of the things I love about them, you can cast out, I don't care whether you're using a spinner bait or some kind of a crankbait or whatever, and you're reeling it in, or maybe you're trolling, you're still keeping that lure in motion. All of a sudden you feel a separation, almost like a stopping, and then nothing, and it keeps going. All of a sudden you feel it again. And what I'm trying to tell you is that northern pike, it tends to be habitual with them, that a lot of times they will follow and strike, and maybe they're striking in a way that hook isn't getting in their mouth. I don't know, but you don't hook them. And it happens again, you don't hook them. And they may follow all the way to the boat before they really ingest that thing and you can hook them. It's a fun thing, because if you feel it happen twice, you know, okay, this has got to be a northern. It's not a bass, it's a northern pike. So that's another one of their tendencies or behavior traits. The other thing that I've noticed, and it's followed me for years and decades, is that during a given period of the day, and I've found that northerns don't hit very good once it gets darkish, and especially not after dark. But during the day, they will go on feeding sprees every couple of hours. And then they'll stop mysteriously for whatever reason, and then they'll start again 2 hours later. And those sprees may only last 10 minutes, 15 minutes. But while it's lasting, it's like every pike in the water, even if they're way separated, they can't see each other, smell each other, or whatever, but they all are doing the same thing. It's fascinating. And boy, when those peak periods happen, you really need to take advantage of it. And finally, if going back to colors, I've found that in the spring, orange is a tremendous color for northern pike. Red and white is good kind of all the time, but in the spring as well. But orange is fantastic. But then once it gets summertime and in the fall, orange doesn't work near as well for me, but pink and chartreuse become maybe better colors. And finally, never overlook black. Black you think isn't a color, but it can be a tremendous color. So these are some of the things about northern pike that I wanted to pass on. I think they're a fabulous species. I love fishing for them. I've never lost that love. And I hope this has helped you in some way. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.